Now, the rest of the story.
And this, other than realizing I'm low on hydraulic oil and I need a pin and pin, is what I've been talking about wanting to do with the drawbar on the 76, and subsequently I'm going to do it the 46 too. I got a length of chain here with the controls in the 76, and be able to control how high the full lift mark is for the arms. And I'm not trying to put a lot of torque, any torque really, on the drawbar here. I'm actually going to drop it down here. What I'm trying to do is take any of that flex I'm getting from the drawbar, having this cart behind me. Yes, I could go through and shove the drawbar in another, I think I can, another notch. Yeah, I got one more notch. I could shove it in, but the flexing that I'm seeing is right through here. So narrowing it up from here back, I don't really know if it's going to help me a whole lot. I mean, we've already replaced the drawbar in the 4640. We did that a few years ago. It's getting worn. The corn planter is doing pretty much 1,000% of that, and the combine, I can see the 3/4 full lights on the combine flashing, so we're gonna go up and get a load. I gotta do something similar here, where I want to hook it down and around. I'm not going to use this chain because it's too short, but just enough to support the tongue with this loaded full of grain. With corn, I'm still going to leave it on, don't get me wrong, but beans actually weigh more than corn, and it shows, because with just one full fill from the combine, and I need to start shedding some layers, I'm getting hot. One full fill from the combine this morning, and driving down out of the field, and I could definitely feel this grain cart was letting me know that there was a bunch of grain in it. But everything is going all right. We have some dial-o-matic issues in the combine to address. I don't know what it is because it worked last night. Sensors and everything look fine. I am kind of in the camp right now of that the oil is cold, because it was giving him issues this morning. I just shut the dial-o-matic off. Yep, he's got his auger out. I'm moving equipment around and feeding cows. Like I said, doing all this random stuff that I would have done Sunday if I didn't get stuck to 76, but you know, that kind of stuff just happens, and it's more or less just lucky we didn't bust the axles in the 76, because we were pretty stuck. Ryan's got footage or pictures of it. I didn't bother, not because I really cared too much that I was stuck, that it gets put out there. It's the fact that it was 6:30 at night. It currently gets dark at 7 o'clock right now, which means I did not want to be working down there after dark trying to get the 76 out of the mud. And this is the view out the 46 and looking across the crops at Rockville. So far they're yielding really well. I can tell you what they're yielding because, well, that's the home farm, and we're running 71 bushels to the acre. Ran a few passes across these longer strips where it was staying at 80 plus and just hanging there the whole way around the strip. I think the farm overall is going to be in the 70s by the time we're all done. It's just when we started yesterday, we didn't have it calibrated right away, so those lower calibrations, which was, you know, the monitor was reading low, those lower calibrations are throwing off our current calibrations. Now, if I would have went through and changed the region or started a new event, I mean, we would have been fine, but really right now, the harvest maps, when it comes right down to it, the yield doesn't mean anything. I mean, what goes across the scale at the elevator is what matters. The yield and the monitor, the variations across the field, are what we use for our variable rate fertilizer that alongside of our yield history, our 5-year average, with our harvest, our grain yield in the fall. And then we go through and soil sample everything. It's grid sample in a 2.5 acre grid. All of our farms are. And then also now we take that, and that's what we do our variable rate fertilizer with, or the nutrient does when they're applying our fertilizer. But then now with the planter upgrade, we'll be able to go through and do variable rate maps based off our previous year's yield history and make different regions to increase or decrease our planting population. And combine and bean head are still working wicked awesome. Honestly, the best cut job we've had probably ever. I mean, we do have a little bit of stubble hanging up here, but that's just from some unevenness in the field. But I'm going to be taking this back in, whatever he's got on. That'll top off that green cart. Once that green cart is topped off, then I'll just loiter out in the field. There's Dad and Uncle Kevin, which I don't think you guys can really see him. So soybeans are great. Soybeans are fun and all, you know, when everything's working and moisture's there and yield is there, but I'd rather raise corn. I would rather harvest corn. I don't. Beans are all right, but we raise them for rotation, and they don't generally cost so much for input per acre. So it is nice being able to raise a crop that still pulls in a decent yield, and it gives us something to rotate in and out of. Continuous corn works, but it's not an option on every farm. We could actually rotate this out because we're combining a bunch of the strips at Rockville at the home farm. We could actually plant this whole farm to corn next year if we wanted to, and then rotate it out back to a 50-50 rotation of corn, beans, and then 2 years corn, 1 year beans. So we'd have 1 year in 3, we'd have corn on corn across the whole farm. And just going the alternating every other year, corn and beans works. We're planting into soybean stubble. We got a planter that can handle it, especially once we put the upgrades on it. It's great. It's really good to see that the yields are there. Granted, Rockville is sometimes an outlier because it's the home farm, it's the main dairy farm that this whole place had a lot of manure put on it. But we start pushing the cattle more, we're going to have more bed pack to spread across everything. And that's that. So I'm going to put this on the green cart. I got to adjust that chain on the 76 quick. So it's not, I don't want it so it's actually prying up on the drawbar, just so it's tight, but not to where it's actually pulling on the drawbar. I'd actually rather have it just a little bit loose when there's nothing in the cart, as opposed to have it actually actively picking up on the drawbar, because then you're just trying to break something either in the 3-point arms or you're trying to tweak your drawbar. And I want to do something similar with the 46, because right now these guys machines, you know, the 76 and the 46, we call them guys and women, you know, are the main cart tractors, harvest tractors. I will put the 82 too on the M&W wagon. I will put the 82 on the 500 bushel Easy Trail cart wagon. It's 500 bushels, give or take. It's right there at 500. In a pinch, if we just need a little bit more storage. I mean, Ryan's just running down to Dubuque right now, but weather is good for a week, I think until the 12th. They were calling for a chance of rain tomorrow, and that didn't happen, or they pulled that out. But the biggest thing we need is blue sky and sunny. Being able to start at 10 in the morning versus 1:30 in the afternoon like yesterday. Really does depend on how bad your evening dew is and whether or not the sun comes out, how early the sun comes out, or if there's a breeze. Because Dad started today, it was running at 12.5%. We really wanted about 12, give or take. 13 and a half if it's not running that or above it all day long. It blends in. But by the time you get to the end of the day, you are looking at like 11%, 10%, and you see a lot more of the pods popping off the head and popping back up and hitting the window. I'm gonna drop the camera and grab a gear and get out of here. You know, just a random thought that just occurred to me too is the cows are starting to go through hay at an accelerated rate. What are you looking at, huh? And you know, for being a tan one, she's actually really pretty. But these not so great bales, I mean, these are the ones that stunk, and you could definitely tell they were going sour. And I don't know if we just hit that neutral point of it's definitely not dry hay, but it's not necessarily just flat out junk, and the cows are treating it, it's like silage. You can go look at it real quick, because these are these last 4 that I've been feeding are actual waterway hay from actually that long waterway up there. And everybody seems to, maybe it's a little bit of alfalfa that's in it. Scooch, babe. Come on. Yeah, see, we got some grassy alfalfa. And it's still got some color to it. I know you guys are looking into the sun. A little dusty. Not proud of that, but it happens. Plenty of leaves. That's probably why they're going through about a bale a day right now. See that black stuff? This is what we talk about when the hay's heating and it goes sour. I mean, comparisons? Let's look at it. I know, dusty. So, I think there's a distinct difference of the stuff that obviously heated in the core of the last bale, and there's more grassy-ish stuff that definitely wasn't super duper dry, but it did keep to a degree. The cows like it. The cows will like it, and this will probably be having it back out here tomorrow feeding them again, which isn't a good thing. I got more than enough hay, but I wasn't planning on having to feed out all the hay that I produced this year, which, you know, several hundred bales of grass. The number of cattle I'm feeding aren't going to go through it all, because the 2 bales every other day, every 3 days down at my place I'm going through for my parents' cattle or of my dad's feed. But the pastures are smoked. There's a little bit of grass out there yet. I'm kind of hanging on to that for one of these days where if we're not quite close to home and we're trying to get done with harvest, I can let them out there in a quick panic and maybe gain a couple days not having to worry about dumping a bale of feed in for them. But everybody in here looks pretty. So we got orange tag heifer, white tag bull, green tag bull. That might be backwards. Nope, that's right. The white tag black-hided calves are going to be steers for sure. I was planning on keeping back one of these red guys, these red calves for breeding. And honestly, the younger calf is looking nicer than the older one. Yeah, I'll just keep them both back, right? The big concern that you have is inbreeding. Okay, well, they're going to be potentially breeding their mothers or their aunts and uncles and all that stuff. Well, I can actually sort out, and the calves that they would have any kind of genetic line to, I can actually pull those cows out, and then my dad's cows that I brought up, I can sort out there, and I can have 2 separate lots of cows with those younger calves, those younger bulls, and with those cows, so I don't have to worry about any inbreeding going on, because that's most certainly not what I want. And we got plenty of time between now and whenever. I could end up just deciding to sell these guys anyway, and then just going and buying another young bull, which by rights is what I really should be doing. But my whole operation's just kind of, you know, flying by the seat of your pants right now. Definitely going forward, but I'm definitely getting a better handle on the management side. I mean, he is a good looking little calf. And I do have a bull right there. That one's mine, and that is a blue tagged heifer of mine. So I really need to go through and get an up-to-date, accurate count of what I got for calves, and kind of see where I'm sitting. So, I mean, the magic number is like 50 to 70 head of cows that if I got to feed year-round. Between here and down at my place, I can set lots up. I got plenty of feed. That isn't an issue. I mean, the hay won't be an issue for a while, quite a while. So it's just where I can make the most money with my hay and everything. So the calves, you know, having a couple nice runs of calves to sell every year definitely wouldn't hurt my feelings either. So once I get that guy gone, I got a little bit of a stack of hay up here to be used whenever I really need it. I got about another 60 or so down at the valley I can bring up for feed. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. I mean, this is some of the tougher stuff. I mean, this is the stuff I brought home from that other farm that I made for a guy, that I bought from a guy. And we knew what it was when we did it. That's actually still kind of warm. It's actually kind of warm, but it's got its color. So maybe the 30-degree nights are kind of helping it keep. I don't know. But it smells sweet. It's probably why the cows like it. Back to harvest, folks. Let's go.